Hello. Um, I I took some times to come to. I took some time for myself, and I took some time to come to speak to you because the last video I did was about around Mother's Day and about my relation with my mother, and a lot of people witnessed in messages about how it was not also easy with their mother and how they evolved with that and how they in fact become more wise with time. So when I did this video, my mother was still alive and she passed on the 11th. And we were with my sister who is in Corsica, who was close to her because I stayed here. We were expecting this because she was sleeping a lot, and she had a surgery in April, a hip surgery, and in fact at the last full moon that was in Scorpio, her state has been really degrading, and she was really down. She was sleeping a lot, and we thought she will pass away earlier. And in fact, all these days, my sister been close to her, even if she was sleeping. And one day she awakened and she was able to speak for 1 hour and a half. And also my sister FaceTime me with my mother, so I saw her some days before she passed. And so we were expecting this, and my wish since many years was that she goes in her sleep and in peace. And in fact, it has been like that. So I'm very, very grateful. But it's beyond that. I wrote a lot all these days. It's like waves, 3 days before she passed, I had a friend who came here for 3 days. And the day she left, on the Wednesday, I started to feel tired. I knew my mother was, in a way I knew it, but I didn't want to believe it. But deep inside I knew it because I could feel it in my body. I had this terrible pain on my right hip, very strong pain, like pushing on the head of my hip. Same pain that I had the day of 11 September on my both hips on 11 September. And my mother, actually, I just arrived at her place on that day. And when we wake up the morning, I told her, I don't know, I have pain on my hips. And she said, oh, me too. And maybe half an hour after, my ex-husband called me. He was there, and we were living by the World Trade Center. And he told me what happened, 8:45. It was 2:45 in Corsica. And we understood why we had this pain. Because at the collective level, we are all connected. And we can feel like animals are feeling something gonna happen. But we don't know what it is. And me, I knew that she was already beyond because she was sleeping, and she was already connected to the other dimension. And when she came back and spoke to my sister, surprisingly, like 1 hour and a half, she said things that my sister told me, I'm a little bit worried because she seems to lose her mind. And now, when she passed, I understood that in fact, because I had the experience once in my life with Ada, who, when she was coming back from coma, she was telling me what she was seeing. And the nurses were saying she's divaguing, she's losing her mind. But me, I could hear behind the words, in fact, what she was experimenting without knowing in details, but it was sounding like she was in touch with something different, with something else from beyond, because she was coming back from there. And when my mother said to my sister, "Oh, I feel good. I walked this morning." She was unable to stand up. "I walked this morning, it was great, and I've been at this party with the doctor, and it was amazing." And sure, it could be shocking, because you can think she lost her mind, but when you hear beyond the words, I experiment that several times. Once as well with my young sister when she was in the hospital in India, and when I arrived to see her, she said she could not move, "I cannot move." And I was hearing the little baby that I care of when I was 15, and she was 6 months old, and our mother was in hospital, and my little sister could not move because she had a cast as baby. And I was hearing, in fact, the little baby telling, "I cannot move." And in fact, I told my sister, "I think you are releasing a trauma of when you were a baby, because you are in a way in the same situation without able to move." And me, it's what I'm hearing. I connected. It's like I was connected immediately to that time, multidimensional beings we are, and it came so strong. I knew it was that. And in fact, it took many months for her to recover from that. They never found anything at the examination, but it was a deep, deep memory release. So when my mother said that, yes, in that other dimension, she was able to walk, and it was pleasant. And they did this party because on the other side, they were welcoming her already. And she was sleeping all the time because she was already in that dimension, until the time on the 11th morning that she stopped to breathe. And I asked my sister, and it's funny because, if I can say, this morning, since I knew she was not good since many weeks, every morning and every evening, I had a long time like connecting with her spirit, doing some visualization with sounds and colors, with the tuning forks, and doing my yoga with the intention that it was directed to her. And so I had this time of, I can say, long distance but immediate relation at the spiritual level, and it was accompanying her as I could, being far away. And that morning when I wake up, the 11, so I had these 3 days before of pain in my body and very tired, very tired. I asked my friend who is in France, bioenergetician, "Can you check if I'm centered because I feel so tired?" And he told me, "Yeah, you are totally centered." And in fact, he was following my mother. She had a session some weeks before, and she was off-centered. He recentered her. And the day where she was, my sister told me, "Wow, it's amazing. Her face is so relaxed today." She didn't know that it was the day that my friend at distance was doing the divine connection in a session, energy session. And she said she's totally relaxed. Her face is different. So it's working. And in fact, I asked my sister to send me a picture of the body of my mother. And she said, "Oh, you think so?" I said, "Yeah, I cannot come. I will not come. I feel too tired. I don't have the strength, the force to face this kind of trip in this condition now. And I feel to stay here. So she said, okay, I will do it. And she sent me the picture. Now I don't remember if it's yesterday or before yesterday, of my mother. And it's fantastic because I I was waiting to speak because I didn't want to be emotional, to be able to say all this process I went through all these days and how it was amazing what I could feel in my body and relate to what was at work. And I wanted to share this with you. So the picture of my mother was really surprising because my mother had, as I can say I said in the video before about the relation I had with her, it has been, very difficult, and it has been smoother and smoother to the point that finally at the end of her life, since some years, we could speak openly about different topics. And she was also, we could really communicate on what I am seeing and about what is going on in the world, and she was totally understanding, and she was really amazing about that. And since many years I was feeling, even if I was not feeling a very deep intimate connection that we never had, but on the last years we had it in a way. And with her passing, I understood these days that in fact I knew it. I knew it since a long time, and I speak about that in my video, the last video live. In fact, at the soul level, I choose that mother. I choose her as she was, hard as she was, because she had a very austere and very severe approach. She was hard. It's like, and we could see this on her face. A way to be like, quite dry. So when I saw the picture of my mother, I was like, wow, now I understand what my friend osteopath many years ago, when I was still in Paris, when I was still struggling in the relation with my mother, like 25 years or 30 years ago, my friend osteopath told me, your mother is someone really amazing. And me, I was, because I was still on the referral of what I was, my experience with her, without not feeling loved and all that. But when I saw the picture of her, when life quit her body, with just the shell, like something you let, like the snakes when it changes the skin, and or like an envelope. And I'm impressed, and I feel really good. And I immediately thought about what my friend told me about her, that your mother, she's someone really amazing. And I understood. I understand now. She is totally serene, beautiful, like I never saw her, soft and at peace, but also with nobleness and highness that I never saw, or maybe that I was unable to see when the personality she had was still animating her body. But now that this personality is gone, and that the energy of life is gone, she had, like always, a kind of bitterness on her face, like a kind of conflict inside that was transfiguring on her face, it's gone. It's gone because the filter, she was filtering her life flow with all her inheritance, with all her life experiences that have been hard. All this is gone and led place to something that was animating her deeper at her soul level. And this picture is really amazing. So I wanted to witness about all this with you because there are a lot of things. I wrote a lot, and I don't know if I will be able to give all what I felt, but it's very strong. I felt the day she passed, I felt a little bit the same thing, and some of you who follow me knows what I spoke about the relation with my yoga teacher, with Renata, who was an older woman who could be a role mother figure, like a model. That one day I was not hearing her voice anymore and I was feeling disoriented. I was feeling alone, and in fact, that day my mother passed, I felt the same thing. And I'm used to be alone and I love it, but it's not the same kind of loneliness, it's not the same kind of solitude. It's something deeper. It's something that I realized that even if I thought my mother was not really supporting me, because often she was even castrating me, In fact, no, there is something deeper of the motherhood energy that is transcendenting, that is beyond my mother personality, but it's a kind of current of mother, cosmic mother, that each mother are carrying beyond their personality. It's something stronger. It's something that is like coming from the night of time. And us, mother, woman, we carry this and we transmit this beyond our consciousness. It's something very strong. And when my mother passed that day, I felt the cut of the energy. In fact, the energy I was attributing to her as mother. When I wake up this morning, I told you I felt it was very light because I was used for like half an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes 1 hour to stay like connected with her. But this morning of the 11, I felt lightness, I felt good, and I started to engage a kind of dialogue with her at distance. I was like, can you imagine, Mommy? It's fantastic. I grew in your body. You carry me in your body, in your flesh. And here I am at 65 years old, as I am, grace of you, because you built me, because I built myself. You hosted me to build myself and to be as I am. I want to go beyond the emotional, but it's coming. And it came like waves. Sometimes it was like, it's weird, I don't even have emotional thing. And sometimes it was so strong. And I realized that these waves, in fact, it's a kind of deprogrammation. It's a kind of in deep in the DNA. And you see all my body is tingling. Our spirit has been used to function with certain data, and our body used to function with certain data of our spirit, deep in our flesh. And suddenly something is cut. And suddenly the data are not the same. And it's like inside the cells is in a way obliged to adapt, readapt with like, it's very difficult to explain what I felt about this process, but it's like we don't have the same information in formation, in the shape, in the form anymore. And the spirit processes this quite very fast at speed light. And at the spiritual level, it's very easy in a way. But in the flesh, in the body, it takes time to be incarnated. And it's like that cut made room for something else. It's a void. There is like a feeling of void, of deep void. That has nothing to see with the solitude I'm used to and that I enjoy. It's something very deep. And it's like, because there is this void, because there is this letting go, that cut, obliged, because you cannot go back. It's like slowly, the data are disconnected. We cannot function anymore the same way. The cut, in fact, make rooms for something else. And the pain I had in my hip moved to a pain in my back, that I never have pain since many years, and I was speaking about that. It's enjoyable in my body, and it's like surprising to me because I am aging and I don't have pain in my body since many years now. It was like these last months, no pain. But when there is a pain, I know it's connected to a transformation. And this is what happened after the pain in my hip. The hips are the support, you know. I had this pain on my right shoulder blade in my back, in the middle of my back, that is the heart level. And I was, you know, thinking of my mother, what she lived these last years, because me, it's my mother. But imagine when a mother is losing his child, his children. So how it can affect the body of an older body, of a less healthy body, because my mother was not healthy as I am. She was not moving a lot, and she was, you know, very sedentary, no exercising, nothing. And this woman lost her son in 2015, my brother. She lost her ex-husband, my father, in 2016. She lost her granddaughter last year, the daughter of my sister after me. She lost my sister in January, her daughter. So I was connecting in my pain on this center, and I speak to you and everything is like tingling everywhere. And I was thinking of how this woman, mother, losing her child, her children and grandchild, how could have been her pain in her body that was not healthy like mine. And I'm not crying here to to have people telling me, oh, poor you. No, no, no. It's just very strong. And I engage you, I encourage you to imagine how, and you know, a lot of you knows how it's difficult because some of you lost dear ones, or it can be friends as well. In fact, I had exactly the same feeling when my dear friend passed away many years ago, of being abandoned. And it was like confusing because in the same time I was, in a way, it can seem stupid, but I was in a way envying them. I envy my friend when she passed. You let me now with the burden, with the heaviness of daily life. Even if my life is nice, but there is a kind of thing that is, as they are now connected to this lightness, it's like you pull a rubber and you let go and you get back all the thing, and you are like, they are there in that lightness and you are here down and it's heavy. So on the 11 I was like, oh my goodness, how it's heavy to be on this, in this dimension. So all day I was praying and I was elevating myself, and I was able to feel the process of unloading all data to make room to another way to think, another way to use my spirit, another way to be spiritual. But it was because of the pain in my body and in my heart and in my soul that I was able to elevate myself and to feel that process of deep transformation right in my flesh, because my spirit, with the path of my mother, with the loss of my mother, could not function anymore the same way. So it's a paradox, because it's like people who are dear to you, who are passing away, in fact, they make you able to have more wisdom and to elevate yourself as well. It's like they elevate, they go on this other more subtle spiritual dimension, and in the same time they cut from the physical, but in the same time it's like they drain you to the spiritual. It's like, you know, a paradox where something is lost, if we can say, intensively on the physical and in the heart, but in the same time, exact same time, there is something gained that is very intense at the heart, like an opening or something. That lightness that I felt that morning when she was already passed, I guess it was because she was free of this heavy dimension of the body that was very tired, her body that suffered so much. So it's a very fascinating process. I don't know if you follow me, and it can seem going in all direction, but I was also seeing a bigger picture. You know, my mother was Catholic practicing. She was praying a lot. She was a painter. She was a tailor when she was young, so I inherited about that ability to make my clothes and doing these things. But she was a painter, and she was really involved in the Catholic community in the small village in Corsica, small city in Porto Vecchio. And she painted icons, and she was making, you know, tablecloth for the mess and all these things. And but she was living in a very humble apartment where you have, you know, people not very wealthy at all. And she loved that place, and I would never understood. I wanted her to go away from there, but she loved, because she, even if she was very Catholic practicing, her best friend were Muslim. And when I see what is going on right now in the Middle East, in a way, I'm happy that she left, because it's something that she was not understanding. Her best friend, her neighbor next door, Moroccan, Mina, they were sharing so much together. And I think it's this, what is going on right now, who make me, in a way, happy that she left, to don't see this. And Mina was coming and bringing some couscous or some food that she was doing as Moroccan cuisine, and my mother was cooking, and they were sharing together, and Mina was coming and they were laughing together, and no, it was no way a differentiation about religion. They were happy to share simple things, like most of the humans want to share together, not this nonsense. And it's quite really amazing. One of my followers told me this morning that the way we are surrounded by the people we are surrounded, in fact, make us also leave that earth the way we live, we go away. You see the irony of the thing? She started to, decline on the full moon of Scorpio that was very, very dense. She was Scorpio rising. So, she chose that time of the year, being Catholic practicing, but also surrounded by Muslim people. She chose this time of Ramadan, where she declined, and she passed away the last day of Ramadan, the 11, day 11. And just after Mother's Day here in the US, but just before the Ascension. May always been a very important month to me, but this one of this year, 2021, 21 is my number, is really, really an inch of something. I feel, even if I don't know how now, I feel that is a big change for me, but also in the world. So this woman, Catholic, with her best neighbor friend, Muslim, passed away the last day of Ramadan. Let her body decay, all these subtle bodies went away with the 3 day of Eid. The 3 day of Eid celebration after the end of Ramadan. And she has been buried today, that is the day before Ascension. All this blow my mind about the symbols, the energy, the cycles, how beautiful it is. She shows that on her 88 years old. She shows that time to Ascension with something that she was sharing dearly with her very kind neighbor. I'm sure Mina related to that. And I feel something is at work deeply in me, in my flesh, and I wrote about this process. I have to write more. There is something that is given to us in the passing of others. I'm gonna go more on the collective level now, because all these souls that are going away, ascensioning, ascending since the beginning of 2020, always souls has been ascending. There is not much more death than the years before. It's just that now, with this situation that has been pointing out since beginning of 2020, I see this as something to make us more and more connected to the process of dying, to elevate our spirit, to really connect with our spiritual dimension, because a lot of people never been connected to that dimension. They imagine, a lot of people imagine that being spiritual is about practicing a religion or being part of a cult or have dogma. It's not that. For me, the first thing, being spiritual is about being connected to spirit and feel how the soul and the body, both of them, are using spirit to evolve, to grow, to better love, to better share, to better care. First, ourselves. And when we do that, in fact, it's emanate and it cares for others. So the first thing we have to do is to be with ourselves, to care about ourselves, to be able to care for others. And after, we don't have much to do, because when we care really deeply for ourselves, we are not danger for others. When we care really deeply for ourselves, we are in joy, because our body and our soul, by using our spirit in a proper way, is in joy. There is a joyful relation between the soul and the body. And this doesn't mean to don't cry sometimes. It's beautiful to cry. It's very deep. I had these days some experiences of deep cries doing my yoga that released my pain, actually, in my back. Now it's more diffuse. It's more like I have the feeling that all my little cells released something, has been cut of that mother physical energy, and now can swallow something else and are fed by that, like, like a thirst. And it was like the same thirst I had that first day of, me too, I want to go there. Me too, I want to be free of that body. Me too, I want, And now it's like, okay, what can I do? I can do here to make me happy. This morning I wake up not feeling very good. I guess it was another step with the funeral. And I had a little bit of headache. I went straight. My body was thirsting about, yearning about a cold shower. So I went straight under the shower. And this made me feel good. And I went on my bicycle and I went on my yoga mat. And what I want now, coffee. Oh yes, I was like, having a good coffee and feeling, I wrote, and I was feeling like these waves. Some waves you are like, and some waves is down and it's heavy, and some waves it's very light. And I said, when I was in a one that was heavy, what can make you happy? What would you do to make you happy? Oh, I'm gonna make a cake. And I made a cake. I made a cake to share with my friends. And it made me feel better. And I was like, do I want to do a live? I don't know what I'm going to speak about, because there is so much to say and I don't know if I will be able to speak about. And here I am, and and I thank you. I thank you to listen to that. And I don't do that to get pity, not at all. I just want to share with you this process to, in a way, to witness about how it's deep and beautiful. It's who we are as human, you know. And I'm thankful. I'm really thankful, even for my mother to choose to live that way. And I'm thankful to her also to have been not really close like we could expect to us, because I'm not the only one to have not felt her love in a way, but in her own way she was loving us at the right way for us to be as we were and as we are, because now we are only 2 left on 4, and we choose our mother. I believe that at the soul level there are contracts. Well, it's like, you know, this dialogue. So I choose you as your mother, you're going to be like that. And because you're going to be like that, I'm going to be like that. I'm going to develop that. I'm going to be rebellious against that. I'm going to desire that. And I'm going to create that in my mind. And this is going to come in my life because, and grace of you, because you've been like that, you know. So it's quite a very interesting process. And it's that, if it's that thing, I hope you understood what I want to say, that all this is in perfect order. It seems heartbreaking. It seems we don't have the right parent, or we suffer about that or that or that. But in fact, at the soul level, we choose these conditions. It seems totally surreal and say, oh, this is beautiful story what you come to yourself to make it beautiful. No. Sometimes I thought about that. I say, this voice say, oh, you are counting yourself tales like this. But it's not true. But the other tiny voice say, yeah, look, there is wonders. It's a miracle. It's a wonderful exist there. So it's that. I wanted to share about this process, to have in mind that despite the circumstances, we know deep inside of us that it's like the soil a seed needs to grow and bloom and give fruits. And after, it's up to us. We have to water ourselves, the garden. Nobody can do it for us. And, you know, this month of May, it's the month of Mary. I'm speaking about energy. I'm not speaking about religion. But I'm speaking more, in a way, about true religion, with the cosmos, with the universe, with energies. And the month of Mary, it's the month my mother chose to live. So this shows me how, in fact, she was an amazing mother. She was the one I needed to be as I am. And I feel I am a good human being. Grace of her. So now I feel there are waves, and there are waves I feel alone. But I know I'm not, because we are never alone. We are never alone. Some people can see me, I don't see beyond. You know, I don't see in the invisible. I and I feel protected, and I feel supported. And I think when she came back and say, we had a party, it was great, I think it's that we are protected, and we are, so we have to have in mind, even if some people can see the guide, some people can see entities, me I cannot, but it's more like I feel secure, I feel protected, and this since I can say ever, and it's that. So if we can have this in mind, and like feeling that we choose to come in this time, in this era as it is, what can we give at our own way to others, to the collective? What option, what to give something better? And sometimes it's just by being ourselves as we are, There is nothing special to do, but just to share what is dear to us with others. Because this is gonna touch the heart. When the heart is broken, there is a possibility for love to go in, for light to go in, and this feeds the heart, and it becomes bigger, and it can emanate that love at its turn. So there is, in fact, nothing much to do, just to be and to experience the sadness, and it's not, I don't feel sorrow. This has to be really clear. I'm clear with myself. It's not sorrow. It's sadness. It was like, I have no regrets because I share with her all what hurt me from her. I spoke about that in my video around Mother's Day. I shared with her, even if I was violent sometimes, I told her, I don't understand why you have been like that, why you did that, why you... And I did that, so it was no regrets. I have no regrets because everything has been said, and this is wonderful. So it's what I was saying, I was encouraging you, if you have things that are like heavy, give it at your own way, even if you feel it's a little bit like maladroit, we said in French, a little bit awkward, a little bit, not very diplomatic. Say it at your own way, with your heart. Because like that, you will not have the regrets about that. This, I don't have it. But the sadness was more in tiny things. It was more like, I told her when I was calling her at the phone, I said, I'm going to come at fall, and I'm going to show you the beautiful design I did with my photographs on the shelves. So I was going to go there and bring the designs and make a small fashion show for her with the shelves and say, you see, this is my photograph. And that morning, when I was speaking to her, you see, I grew in your womb, and I was also like telling her, what I'm doing today, it's grace of you. I'm able to create beauty, and this is because I grew in your body. And I am that thing from you. I transmit that, and I create with that. So the day she passed, I was like, today I don't shoot myself. I went to the post office, I went on the beach coming back. I always had a shawl with me, and finally I could not resist. It was beautiful light, and I did a video of the new design that I did with my friend, that in fact is an entity from the invisible, and that she drew, that she brought to life on her canvas. It's called in France Le Jeu du Roi Grillon. And I posted only one picture of it. I will post more. So I did video, and it was like magical, because I was like doing a small show for my mother up there, and I was happy to show her the last design, and who came from a painting, like she was a painter, so it was like, double celebration. Then, the day after, I was feeling so tired, I slept a lot, and I shared with few friends. The day after I went, it was the beginning of Eid, and I went with a Muslim friend to celebrate that. And in honor of my mother, we sang together, but I never sang before like that. And it was really nice. And the other day, it was gray, and I said, okay, I want to wear brown. I feel, brown is a color of renunciation, in like humbleness, I don't know, humility. It's a color that a lot of monks are wearing in renunciation. But it's also the color of the ground, of the soil, of nurturing, of, nature, of the soil. So I felt to wear that, and I went to the post office, and I came back, stopped by the beach, and no, I don't want to shoot today. I want just to sit in the wind. It was cloudy, and I saw this wall of bricks. It's not bricks, it's sandbags. But I never wanted to shoot by, but attracted me. And I felt, pull my back on that wall. And suddenly, I could not resist. I had to do video. And I say, because I am not in the mood. I'm thinking of my mother. I don't want to do that. And finally, again, I was there, seated on the sand, my back on the sandbags, in the cloud, in the wind, enjoying the water, all dark gray. And suddenly, I felt like pushed. And I started to do this video like I never did before. And it was like I was guided. And I did this movement, and I started to edit these videos, the 3 last ones that are on my page. And I took this music, that the rhythm was making me like with the waves, and this thing that I'm feeling in some days, ups and down, and and the title was really that. It's over. It's over, like stopping doing the past again. If you listen to the words, it's very interesting. And I don't know, I've been guided to choose this song that I love a lot, that I listen sometimes. But it was a perfect song, and I felt to do this little reel, and it made so much sense, and I never shoot myself like that before. Renunciation, and connected with the brown of the soil, and fertility, and the mother energy that is different now. But now, more than ever, I have to relate to my own one. I know how to mother myself, and it's what I'm encouraging people to do since the beginning of 2020. Mother yourself, because nobody gonna do it better than you. And I always did for myself. But now I'm really alone physically to do it with myself. There is no more mother that, in a way, unconsciously was supporting me in the physical dimension. I was not aware. And now I feel it. I feel it. And it's great. I feel I'm going to become stronger in my way to mother myself. I feel this because the physical umbilical cord has been cut, but the spiritual one is stronger now. And it's a dance process. I'm not crying because I'm sad. I'm crying because it's very strong. It's a grace. I'm crying of grace. It's a grace that is given to us, that we can experiment that. I experiment moment of grace several times in my life, in very special places, sacred places. It's like crossed. And it's the month of May where we have also Pentecost, where the tongue of fire are coming and it's given and crossing us, the Sanctus, Spiritus Sanctus, but the energy of that. And this is the month of May. It's about, renewal, flowering, seeding, spreading, that are blooming, and it's where all the flowers are going to give fruits, and we can do exactly the same thing. We do the same thing, especially as mother, we do the same thing. So everything is in perfect order, to a point that it's blowing my mind. But at the three-dimensional level, it's moving a lot. And at the same time, the fifth dimension, it's very strong in the same intensity. Well, I wanted to share this with you. Don't be sad for me, but if you feel the grace, experiment it, share, feel it, go with it, cry with it. It's a gift. It's a gift that is given to us. But only in the body we can feel it like that. It's for that my friend osteopath was saying, when we cry down there, up there they're happy. Because they feel through us strong grace, strong feelings. And it's only by us in the physical dimension that these light beings can experiment, that the angel can feel. Because they don't have bodies. They cannot. It's for that. We have to think about them and to, put them at work. Can you help me? Can you assist me for that? I have that. And they do. If we don't ask them, they don't. They are bored up there if we don't ask them to intervene and to, and it's not only praying to get, it's just praying to connect, praying to be connected with this invisible part of us. Because up there is no conflict. So the conflict down there are only, I think, to elevate ourselves, to stop being on this pain. But it's only by the pain and the sufferance that unfortunately human beings have desire to stop it and to create something else. My. Voilà. I'm gonna let you. I thank you very much. I thank you very much to follow me and to listen to me, and I thank also the one who took some badges. I always forget to say I put badges on. It's the little treasure that I'm raising with you for the orphanage. So I'm thankful to you and to all my followers and all my customers. And I see, yeah, I see free Palestine. Yeah, it's not only Palestine. Palestine is, it's this earth, this soil inside each of us, this sacred soil. And the free Palestine, it's us who are screaming to be free of all what is going on in the world. And it's exploding, like it's exploding inside of us after more than a year of craziness. We explode, we want to be free, and outside of us, this sacred soil is exploding like we explode inside, that we want this to stop. We want to be free. Yeah. You know, someone told me that a woman with channeling said that soon the one who left gonna envy very much the one who stay, who are here now, gonna envy very much the one who left, because it's gonna become harder and harder. So we have to be ready for very hard time, but we have also to have in mind that everything is changing all the time, it's impermanent. And if we know a little bit of astrology, it's become lighter end of 2025. I guess it will be the time it's needs for big changes. And people who Ascension, in fact, they help us. In fact, they sacrifice themselves in this time to help us to better, understand the process. That we are not only a physical body, but we are a spiritual body, and we can create with our spirit. So this is what we're going to be more and more and more obliged to face, obliged to feel, and to see that we can create with our spirit, and to be more and more determined to do it. And it's for that it's going to be narrower and more difficult. Because this is going to be the ferment, this is going to be the soil to make us, like the, how you say, the ferment, I don't know how you say this, the yeast. This is the yeast, what is going now. It's like a yeast to make us elevate, like the yeast makes the bread elevating. It's exactly the same process. And it's boiling. It's intense. It's really intense. I thank you very much. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna go and grab a piece of coconut cocoa cake that I made. Thank you. Thank you very much.